Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. MD Polo here. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be taking a look at STI's 2011 model Staccato P. Now I ask your patience as we go through this video, since I'm doing everything in one take only again. So we'll do the best that we can, and here we go. STI, who makes the Staccato P and several other lines, is famous in the US and around the world in the shooting circuits for their race guns, especially the DVC line. But they also have the Staccato line, which includes the Staccato C, which is the carry, and the P, which is their duty. And what we have here is the Staccato P. Now it comes in this nice range bag and the front zipper. It includes the owner's manual, the mandatory lock, and stuff that we don't need to take a look at this moment. But when you open the case, and before we do so, I wanted to take a minute and thank my friends over at Shoot Point Blank in Carmel, Indiana for their support. So the Staccato P, their slogan is that this is the world's best shooting duty gun. And they actually may be right. Staccato sounds like something that should have come from Italy or somewhere on the other side of the pond, and that it should be said staccato, but it's actually made here in the United States. STI makes their guns, and they've been doing so in the United States for a little bit over 25 years. And they really lay on their claim that they're one of the world's best shooting guns and built for shooters. As you open the pouch, the shooting bag, the first thing that struck me as amazing, and I've never seen this before, it's open now, of course, but it comes in this vacuum sealed pouch, and it was just completely vacuum sealed. It looked like a steak that you ordered from Omaha or a piece of frozen fish. Very lubed up, oil everywhere, and just vacuum sealed for protection. I've never seen that before. So here it is, the Staccato P. Now the Staccato P, it is this particular model, or this particular example, comes in 9 millimeter and 45 ACP. You get 2 mags with it. As you see here, it comes with a 17 round mag and with a 20 round mag. Both of them solid steel, very sturdy, very well built. The quality is great in these. So depending which one you want to use, you can either have 17+1 or 20+1. So let me put everything aside here for a second and get rid of this bag. If you're going to use the 17 round mag, it fits flush very nicely. It ejects beautifully. If you're going to use the 20 rounder, it doesn't fit flush. It does have where to grab it from in case you needed to strip it, but there's no sleeve or anything to get rid of this gap. But shooting, it doesn't bother you. The mags are expensive. For the 9 millimeters, you're going to be paying a little bit north of $70 per mag. And for the 45 ACP, in the 45 ACP, you get a 10 rounder and a 13 rounder, and you're going to be paying a little bit north of $60 per mag. So $75 a little bit more on the 9 millimeter and $60 a little bit more on the 45 ACP. Now looking at the gun, we're going to walk around a little bit and just let you take a look at it as we go around. Not a lot of markings on the pistol, which I like. It has the US flag here, which I think is a great touch, and it does say Staccato P in the front of the barrel. And I want you to know that this pistol and all the pistols I'm going to be showing you in this video have been safety checked several times. On the left side of the slide, you have 2011, and that's the only marking that you see on the slide. Moving up to the sights, you got a front fiber optic, and you got a rear square with serrated back So it gives you a nice picture. There are Dawson Precision sights, and they call it the Dawson Precision Perfect Impact Sights. You can get it with a red fiber optic or with a green fiber optic. The rear sight, they call it the Stealth Charger blacked out sight. Moving down to the slide is the NDLC coating, excuse me, and it has front and rear serrations. They're very sharp, very positive. There's no way you're going to miss or the serrations or slide off the barrel. They're carved into a steel slide, all in black, and it just feels and looks very nice, very, very smooth. The barrel in the gun, it is 4.15 inches. It is a bull barrel, and it resides in a 6 3/4 inch slide. And this makes it, just for comparison, for size, to give you a visual, it makes it just a little bit bigger than a Glock 45. So I know that most people are familiar with that, and a lot of people may not be familiar with the Staccato P. And again, that is not including the beaver tail. So just end of slide to front of slide is just a little bit bigger than a Glock 45, a Glock 19X. If you include the beaver tail, now from front to slide to end of beaver tail, you're talking about 8 inches long. So it's not a small gun by any means. The grip is a full-size grip with STI's tree bark stipple texture. So it's not too rough, but it is amazingly grippy. Once you get a grip on this gun, it's really not going anywhere. The mag release, it's oversized, and it is reversible, but it doesn't come ambi from the box. But it is reversible. It works very well. You insert the mags, and they just fly out of there. And to me, it is the perfect size. I have medium-sized hands, and I can reach it fine. So not a problem there. It does, on the side, it does have ambi safeties. The paddles are pretty big, and as we'll talk about a little bit later, is my only point of contention with this gun, is the design of these safeties, and also the size of their safeties. Now looking down at the bottom of the gun, we have a full-size rail. It's a 1913 rail. Oops, went off camera there. It is a 1913 rail with 4 slots. You got a skeletonized hammer and a skeletonized trigger. I just set that up backwards, didn't I? It's got a skeletonized hammer and a skeletonized trigger. The hammer is not serrated. It is serrated. I'm sorry, I should have brought my glasses. The hammer does have serrations in the back. And the trigger, according to STI, it's pulling at 4.5 pounds from factory. So if we take a look at it, very clean, very crisp, minimal take up. Let's look at it again. And there's the reset. Boom. And while we're here, I don't know if the camera will be able to catch this, but if you can hear the slide, it truly feels like it just glides on glass. Just beautiful. The slide, as I mentioned, is solid steel, but from the trigger guard down, it's all polymer, including the trigger. In some of the other guns that have this mixture of steel and polymer, you will have a steel trigger or a metal trigger. But here, trigger guard and the trigger itself are all polymer. Now, as contrast, I did bring my Sphinx SDP. Now, this is the alpha model. In one of my other videos, you've seen the other Sphinx, which is the duty size, and I probably should have brought that. But I wanted to bring this to show the comparison of a gun that also has steel. This one has aluminum in the middle, but from here down is all polymer. So it's also a gun that marries a mixture of materials. The Sphinx, however, does have a metal trigger, and as you can see here, and again, the Sphinx has been safety checked as well, you can see the difference in sizes between the trigger guard of the Sphinx and of the SDP. The Sphinx SDP and the STI. So again, I have medium-sized hands, but with a Staccato, if you have bigger hands, which I thought it was a requirement for YouTube reviews, but here with a medium-sized hand, if you put your finger on the trigger, I don't have a lot of room here, and if I had gloves, even less. So if you have large, extra large hands, you may be pretty cramped in here. But when you look at the Sphinx, you got plenty of room in here, especially when it's in the half-cocked and the trigger is a little bit further back. But both top quality guns. I love this gun. I'm very accurate with it. And I thought it would be a good comparison. Size-wise, you can tell it's not a very good comparison because this is a compact size, this is a duty size, but both of them have pretty extended beaver tails. And we're talking about, if you go beaver tail to beaver tail, about ½ an inch longer on the STI. Now, and also for comparisons, I brought this We the People 1911, also from SIG. This is the 1776, very nice 1911, and I want to give a shout out to my friend Big Johnson Guns and Gear, who introduced me to this model 1911. I first saw it from him, and Big Johnson is responsible for my bank account being smaller than it was before I started watching his channel, so please do go check him out. But here you have a full-size 1911 versus a 2011. I wanted to show you this. Oops, bring it back on camera. So here we have two extended beaver tails. So if we go beaver tail to beaver tail, the grips are pretty much the same length. If I can sneak this in here, you can see the difference in width with a 2011 versus a 1911. Length, you're actually seeing mostly the magwell that makes it look bigger, but without the magwell, they would be very comparable. And here you see the difference in length between the two. So that's the only reason really that I brought the SIG out. But it will make a cameo a little bit later on the video as well. Now, the fit and finish of the STI Staccato, and like any of the other STI guns, it is absolutely amazing. And it is a heavy gun, it is an expensive gun, but it feels, and it has the features, the feel of more expensive guns. It is heavy, it's coming in at 35 ounces, and that is unloaded. And in comparison, it almost makes it 10 ounces heavier than a Glock 45, also unloaded. I wish there was a way that I could transmit the feel of this slide. You really have to go to a $2,500, $3,000 1911, in my opinion, in order to get the feel that comes from this gun. when you move it around. Like I mentioned, it is an expensive gun. This is coming in with an MSRP of $1,999. So it is an expensive gun, but in this case, you really are getting what you paid for. An accurate gun. It is amazingly accurate. Now, I am not a good shooter by any means. I have fun with it, and I don't have the setup yet so I can record while shooting, but I wanted to show you what I did with a Staccato P with a 9mm. This says that it was done at 10 yards. It was not. It was done at 7 yards. I was just looking at the wrong line. But these here, you're looking at 20 rounds of 9mm, and this was with 124 Blazer brass. And this is what I was able to do with a Staccato P, and I have never been able to do something like this with any other gun. The closest that I got was when I was shooting the Akai, also in 9mm. So my top 3 shooting guns that I can do something similar would have been the Akai, the Sphinx SDP duty size, and now the Staccato P. So it's definitely on the top 3 for me. Now, Staccato also comes not only in the P that you see here, but on they call it the Staccato P host. And the host, you probably can find a much better video than what I'm doing justice here from Talon Sai. And Talon made a video recently about the Staccato P, but with host. And the host is cut in the rear for a red dot. And that is the only difference between the two guns. And the red dot that is cut out is for the Delta Point Pro and for the Trigicon RMR. Now, it will accept any other red dot, any popular platform of red dots in the market that was made to use the same platform as those two that I just mentioned. So the Staccato host, the P host, it is more expensive. It comes in at $24.99, so $2,499. So you're talking about a $500 difference, and I don't have it obviously, but I did print it out so you can see it. So here they're showing it with a 20 round mag on it right here, that's why it sticks out. But here you have the Delta Pro installed in the Staccato P host. So it looks pretty cool. It is $500 more, so now you're looking at $2,500 plus tax and any other expenses that you may have on the gun. So let's talk a little bit about the very few cons that I have with a gun. And I'm going to tell you right now that it's right here. This area right here where the safety, the paddle safety is, the thumb safety, I'm sorry. This area right here, it almost is a deal breaker for me. It is sharp. When you hold the gun, when you get your shooting grip, if you're one of those people that likes to rest your thumb on the grip itself, on the safety itself, this area right here is sharp, and the way that your thumb has to angle and press, it is this bone right here, this joint, that goes right in here, at least for me, and this is sharp. I mean, it's not going to cut you if you do this, but it's hard and it's pointy. I don't know if you guys can see this gap here. And it just beats the living daylights out of this joint right here when I shoot. Now, if you hold it down here and you just want to shoot like that, this gun just melts in your hand. But if you want to put it up here, now for me, it becomes an issue. And it's enough of an issue that it was almost a deal breaker. Now, in comparison, here we have the SIG. This is the P220 in 10mm, but what I want is the single action only. But what I wanted to show you is the difference in the safeties. This one is very comfortable, and even if you want to ride the safety up here, there's nothing here that is going to bother you or beat you up or poke at you. And in the Staccato P, there is. Hope you can see the difference. You can see how much bigger the safeties are on the Staccato versus the SIG. So this one, the Staccato, bothers me a lot the SIG SAO, not a problem whatsoever. And if we go back here, back to the We the People 1911, again, you see how much smaller the safeties are. You can also write it, the thumb safety, you can write it, and everything is flush. There's not a problem. Bringing the Staccato back into the picture, you can see the differences there. And even though they both have this point here, the SIGs just melts into the frame, whereas the Staccato does not, and it actually beats into your thumb. And I can tell you that's the only negative that I have on this gun. Amazing quality. The fit and finish is spectacular. Slide glides on glass. Fabulous trigger. The grip texture is, for me, just talking about my experience, the grip texture is pretty much perfect. And this is definitely a Ferrari of the 2011s. So if it's worth $2,000 or $2,500 for, if you choose the one for the red dot, that's up to you to decide. But now the question is, does this gun live up to its slogan of being the world's best shooting duty gun? And I think it does. And that is very difficult for me to say because I love my Sphinx. I love my Sphinx. The duty one is fantastic. And I like the SDP Compact also that I showed earlier. But this is something special. If you have the opportunity to shoot one of these, call your range, your local gun shop that has a range, and see if they have one as a rental gun. Some shops do. And give you a look at the magwell. It's a wonderful gun. So I've rambled on a long time. Thank you for your patience with me. Thank you for putting up with me doing these videos in one take only. So I appreciate your time very much. And if you like this video, please consider clicking the thumbs up button and consider subscribing to my channel if you'd like to see more videos from me. Again, I appreciate your time and God bless. Thank you.